This Monster Marathon on the Del Mar border is drawing to a close. With a stacked lineup and a delay of game, attrition may play the part of equalizer in this test of agility and spatial awareness. It is a cold and snowy night here on the Delmarva Peninsula. We're on Maryland's eastern shore in the historic town of Salisbury, Maryland, getting set for one more battle of 7 monster trucks here in the Wacomico Civic Center with the No Limits Monster Truck Tour. Night number 1 was Friday. We were supposed to have 2 shows on Saturday, but the snow blew in over the bay, and we had a delay of game as we get set now for the 3rd and final show here on Sunday. Earlier this afternoon, these trucks took to the track, and our first machine up here in competition in the skills competition to open things up will be Trey Myers out of Brunswick, Maryland, driving Mike Vodder's Iron Warrior. Of course, Trey making this name famous in the business in the early 2000s after purchasing the name from Glenn Bolin, and he's looking good right now. Keep in mind, though, as I mentioned, these trucks ran already 2 shows this weekend. They were fresh coming into this afternoon, but this truck is not at 100%. You can see it right there, Trey running in 3-wheel drive. The left front is not pulling following an incident in round 1 of racing earlier this afternoon while going up against Rick Disharoon and smoking, but not a bad start for a guy who's working with a handicap right now, a score of 16. Strong considering. Given all things being equal on this track, we will see what his fellow competitors have. Here's another guy who struggled a bit here this weekend as he gets used to a newly rebuilt machine, but he is definitely road testing the suspension underneath of this truck. The higher education cool bus being piloted by Richie Yatzko out of Front Royal, Virginia. And I have to think he's having some kind of a problem as he appears to be limping over there into the corner. I'm not sure what went wrong there. He had such a strong opening statement with all that hang time, landing right past that K-rail. He could do some damage to the tires. A score of 18 to take the top spot as the legend Mike Vodder Sr. out of Hagerstown, Maryland, takes to the track in the Safety Clean Black Stallion. This is the 3rd truck to officially carry the Black Stallion as its title. And Mike, look at this, coming out with the stoppie. Mike, more known for the sky wheelies that he made so famous and the reverse moves that he made famous during his years as a multi-time Thunder Nationals champion. Began his run on that series in the summer of 1991. Of course, Mike celebrating 40 years behind the wheel of a monster truck. Looking real strong here in the Wacomico Civic Center, recovering from a recent surgery, minor surgery, but surgery nonetheless. Look at that, 2nd stoppie. He will definitely take over the lead, showing he can play with the new generation. He was not going to let them walk away with this skills competition victory. They've been getting these skills competition victories here this weekend and this season, doing 2-wheel moves like that. Mike normally will go for big sky wheelies, try to walk the truck across the pond, but he had enough of playing second fiddle with all the years he has on him. And don't think I'm calling him old. He is just very experienced behind the wheel of one of these trucks. Took him a bit to figure out how to get one of those stoppies to work on that particular chassis, but he knew it would as he takes the number 1 spot with a score of 24. Out comes Corey Snyder in the very first of the Metal Shop Signature Series chassis, debuted in November of 2020. Finally got all the bugs worked out, and the Frederick Maryland Ford taking a flying leap onto the pond. Beautiful sky wheelie right there for that big bad Ford with a 557 cubic inch Metal Shop engine in the back. This machine has been a banner truck for the Metal Shop right now. It's kind of been a test bed for them as they continue to build some excellent equipment, and he's looking good here. 2 awesome sky wheelies. Definitely wanted to make up for this afternoon. He came out for his skills competition run, came out like a house of fire, and threw a blower belt, put a premature end to the run. But look at this. And wait till you see the score. I don't know if they're going to agree with this. A 23, 1 point short of the number one spot. As I said, the two-wheel moves are taking it here this weekend. Mike Vodder Sr. serving notice. He is not out of this thing by a long shot. Here comes R.J. Turner out of Knoxville, Maryland. Normally drives the War Wizard. This truck very different from his, but he says they land very similar. So he's been getting more and more comfortable behind the wheel. Let's see what he's got. Stoppy onto the pod. Nicely done for the Ford-powered Super Duty out of the state of Maryland. RJ trying to get himself into that number one spot. He took the first skills win of the weekend, but had it taken away from him at show number 2. Easy going, the moonwalk right up on top of it. R.J. Turner making it look easy. Getting his first shows of the year under his belt at the wheel of the Overkill Evolution Ford. He'll be back in the War Wizard a little bit later this season. We'll see if he learned anything at the time he's been at the wheel of this truck, but he's definitely a competent driver. A 26 to take the number one spot, 2 points up on Mike Vodder Sr. So, again, the two-wheel moves seem dominant in here right now. Here comes another legend of monster trucks, Rick Disharoon out of Delmar, Maryland. Another one of these Signature Series chassis. That big, bad 69 GMC bodied machine going to work. 557 cubic inches Chevy block in the back of this one. This truck is so loud with those open zoomies. Doesn't spend a lot of time behind the wheel. He is a businessman. He runs the metal shop with his son Ryan, who we'll see here in a moment, in the Saigon Shaker. But these guys basically being a hometown show for them tonight. The shop's only about, 20 minutes from here. Rick wanting to show off some strong moves. Not going to take the top spot in 18. He's going to tie the school bus for right now. But the fans love it. And again, that loud motor, definitely with an advantage with those big zoomies hanging out the bedsides. Here comes Ryan Disharoon in the Saigon Shaker. Another banner machine for the metal shop. Getting it lined up. See what he's got. Part of the fight here is getting yourself set up on this pod that's so wide on this floor with not a lot of room in the corners. Just feeling the truck out. The Disharoon coming out like a house of fire right now. I'm not sure what moves are going to be counted and which aren't, because he took those hits over the racing lanes. There, now he's got the stopping. Going to work it into a moonwalk? Yes, he does. Up on the rear tires. Ryan Disharoon, Saigon Shaker, looking good. Waiting the scores. And look at this, a 26 he ties R.J. Turner in Overkill Evolution. So we take a look at the run one more time. Who got the tiebreaker? It will be Saigon Shaker. Moonwalking up onto the pod. Not everyone may agree with it, but that's how it's going to go down on paper. Close to home, Saigon Shaker starts off strong. Racing coming at you next when we come back to Salisbury. Stay with us.
This Back Channel Productions program is brought to you in part by Monsters Monthly. For up-to-date info, media, and all your other monster truck needs, visit monstersmonthly.com. And by RPM Army. For a wide array of content from across the motorsports world, visit rpmarmy.com. Your high-performance fix on the go.
Hey, welcome to Wildman Adventures. We're at the Silver Lake Sand Dragway. There really wasn't any off-roading back then. It was all off-road. We're on our way to Lima, Ohio. Got wooden wheels.
Oh, it's slippery as all get out.
Hey, we're here with Rich Cummins. Hey, we're here with Mike Potter.
Hey, we're here with Alan Pizzo.
Gotta check it out. This week we're gonna go down memory lane.
This Back Channel Productions program is brought to you in part by Crush This. For a look inside the world of monster trucks, check out Crush This, a Monster Truck Podcast.
Back in the Wacomico Civic Center in Salisbury, Maryland, taking a look at the Round 1 highlights that occurred while we were away. A pair of Metal Shop Signature Series chassis facing off in the first matchup of round number 1. Toxic 2.0 falling back on the first corner, but he's able to take advantage of a rough landing by Rick Disharoon. This is a repeat of our championship race from night number 1. Advantage Toxic going on to the semifinal round. Now that was to be our only conventional matchup of round number 1 as attrition starts to rear its head here in show number 3. Quite common in these marathon weekends. You see the problems with the left front on Iron Warrior continue to plague Trey Myers. He spins out right there. Overkill Evolution moves on to the semifinal round. The final semifinal matchup. Once again, attrition rears its ugly head. Watch the school bus on this run. Breaks the rear end. Both tie rods on the rear housing let go. The Heims breaking loose right there, and he was without steering on that. They went ahead and shut him down. Mike Potter Sr. in the Safety Clean Black Stallion moves on to the semifinal round as Richie Yatsko struggling a little bit right here with some new parts underneath of this truck. Still trying to figure out if it works just yet, but it seems to as we take a look at our semifinal round bracket. Just a little bit more work to do maybe to get that truck perfect. Saigon Shaker going to take on Toxic 2.0, see if he can avenge his father's loss from round number 1. It will be Overkill Evolution taking on the Safety Clean Black Stallion. The Boss will take on one of the banner trucks from his team as we take a look now at Tough Truck. Round 1 highlights. Buddy Hubbard nearest the camera in the Ford Explorer taking on Robert Ross, who has been dominating Tough Trucks here this weekend. Both of these guys are hard runners. Buddy Hubbard, though, gave the fans something to keep him warm out here. Watch him on the second jump, struggling a little bit to get the thing around the corner. He gave up an awful lot of distance on this track, but he slams it down, much to the crowd's delight. The snow bouncing off the top of both of these vehicles. Robert Ross, however, would take advantage of that rough ride for Buddy Hubbard. That's all he wanted, though, was to turn the crowd on as Chris Weiss would go into this round with a bye run. The Ford Ranger, he got after it. He's been having a little trouble here this weekend as he just purchased this truck, trying to get some bugs worked out of it. Word is he will be rebuilding this machine before the end of the year. Our final first round matchup, Dylan Ross has been wild all weekend in the bedless little Mazda pickup, taking on Sam Hall in the Grand Cherokee with the flashing lights. And watch Dylan Ross corner this little pickup truck hard. Putting it up on 2 wheels for a second, but he brings it back down. A little trouble there over the final jump. A very close race between himself and Sam Hall, who had a nice run in that first round pairing. Now, we'll get a look at the Tough Truck Championship race here in just a little bit. In fact, they have a semifinal round matchup they'll have to do first. But right now, we're going to be back to monster trucks. There you see the man who built both of these trucks, Ryan Disharoon, the Saigon Shaker. out of Del Mar, Delaware. The banner truck for the metal shop taking on a truck that's really been a test bed for them early on their first Signature Series chassis. That is Toxic 2.0. Looking across track at Ryan right now. Corey Snyder against Ryan Disharoon. The first matchup of the semifinals about ready to get underway as they wait on green. Disharoon with an advantage right now. Snyder trying to counterback. It's not going to happen, and Snyder lands half on the pod coming across the finish line jump. They faced each other in the championship race earlier this afternoon. Snyder shredded a front drive shaft. It was none other than Ryan Disharoon who jumped in to help get that drivetrain put back together so they could get back for Freestyle. Corey running strong here tonight, but he was just outpaced on that run. The dirt really starting to come apart here inside the Civic Center as Snyder will park it, and we'll get ready for our final semifinal round matchup. Pair of teammates, the boss and a guy, I don't want to call him a fill-in driver because he's been so spectacular behind the wheel of Overkill Evolution, but a lot of people wondering where Mikey Vauders is right now as RJ Turner competently filling in behind the wheel of the Overkill Evolution Ford. Mikey awaiting restrictions to lighten up a little bit as he currently calls Canada home with his family up there north of the border. Mikey will be back soon enough. RJ will be returning to the seat of War Wizard later this season. We'll be getting a look at his first run behind the wheel of that machine. But right now, a score to settle here between the boss and the teammate. Black Stallion Mike Vauders, the legend out of Hagerstown, Maryland, taking on RJ Turner and Overkill Evolution. Vauders with an advantage. RJ Turner trying to fight back. Gets way too deep in that corner, and Vauders will cross the finish line for the victory. Look at that, Turner. Let it roll over the hill, cross the finish line, and then just backed into his pit spot. Vauders will go to the championship round to take on Ryan Disharoon in the Saigon Shaker. Don't go anywhere. That and the Tough Truck Finals are coming up next. Stay with us.
The great Tar Heel tradition continues. Daryl Jones Memorial Scooby-Doo Fastest of the Fast and Blown Alcohol Madness return to the Lee County Mud Motorsports Complex April 22nd and 23rd, featuring an all-out assault in one of the most tradition-rich hill and hole pits in the country, along with the quickest, fastest open class and modified machines on the fast track. 2 days of down and dirty action. Don't miss your chance to see the return of the Fastest of the Fast and Blown Alcohol Madness April 22nd and 23rd.
Listen up. It doesn't matter if you just watch your first show or you're a longtime fan of the sport and you want to know more about monster trucks. Well, tune into the Throttle Out Show on Monday and Thursday nights, live on our YouTube channel at 7:30 p.m. Central Time. You'll get the inside scoop and all the behind-the-scenes footage in monster trucks and soon to be all other motorsports. Life is better when your foot is to the floor. So remember, when in doubt, throttle out.
Welcome back to the Lacoma Coast Civic Center, the No Limits Monster Truck Tour underway. Show number 3 here in Salisbury, Maryland. We're getting ready right now for a battle of the Ross family. They've faced each other a couple times here this weekend already. Robert Ross in the Cherokee, closest to our end zone camera, taking on Dylan Ross in the little Mazda pickup that thing has been beat to death. This should be a good matchup, though. The only semifinal race here in our tough trucks. Getting underway right now, and Robert Ross looking good. Dylan's actually got a little lead on him right now as he struggles a bit with the jumps, trying to keep it on the ground as he heads into the final turn, bouncing around. Very close, but Robert Ross, with the snow falling off the top, is going to pick up a victory in the little Cherokee, going for an extra leap there. Didn't need it. I don't know if he just didn't know the course was done, or maybe as he's heading back around, I don't know that he didn't know that wasn't the championship race. Here comes Chris Weiss, who he's got to take on now. And yes, they just now told Robert Ross that you have to go back out on the track. So I don't know. He may have put an extra hurting on that Jeep. He didn't need to. The front end took a pounding. as we get ready for the championship race here in our Tough Trucks Championship. Chris Weiss in the Little White Ranger out of the Old Dominion. Know Chris from Busted Knuckles film. This guy, always loved running into him up and down the road. Taking on Robert Ross in the stock XJ. Here the Ranger popping and cracking. Robert Ross in the lead. The little stock XJ starting to smoke. I don't know if that was just a tire rubbing the body. As he comes around, Weiss has stopped, and Robert Ross with the front end in the air will pick up another victory in our Tough Truck competition here in the Wacomico Civic Center. You see the smoke rolling out of the right front there as Ross will take it on back into the pits. Weiss is going to have to be towed off the track, but been a good weekend here for that little XJ. All the punishment he put on it was definitely worth it. Now, as there you see Robbie Williams, is another guy who's competed in the Tough Truck competition with the No Limits Monster Truck Tour. In fact, he's been in this building before, now running our floor here tonight as the competition director. We get ready for our championship race as Weiss's Ranger is towed off the track. Here comes a much larger Ford to the lane that Weiss just got towed out of. The legend, Mike Vodder Sr. out of Hagerstown, Maryland, in the 2007 debuted custom-built chassis carrying the Safety Clean Black Stallion name. The old line legend taking on the legacy machine now, Saigon Shaker family, who made their name in the state of Maryland, their shop out in Delmar, Delaware. This should be an awesome matchup. Vodders does not want to let the kid win. Vodders with the jump off the line and the early lead. Black Stallion hanging in there. He mauls the turn marker, but he makes a legal turn, and Black Stallion will pick up a well-deserved victory. The legend showing he's still got what it takes to go after the young guns. Black Stallion, your racing champion, here at the Wacomico Civic Center in Salisbury. Mike Vodders, a very, very proud moment as he knocks off the super fast Saigon Shaker of Ryan Disharoon. We are not done yet. We still have Freestyle to go. Stay with us when we come back to Salisbury. Welcome back to Salisbury, Maryland with the No Limits Monster Truck Tour here in the Wacomico Civic Center. First up in Freestyle, one of the legends in the field, Trey Myers out of Brunswick, Maryland, in the Eddie Matchka chassis, Iron Warrior. Another name that's carried on through many, many years in this industry. Of course, originated by Glenn Bolin from the Sunshine State, an old mud racer. Trey, one of the best fiberglass fabricators in this business. He has his hands on a lot of the fiberglass bodies on these trucks. In fact, both molded and painted the body on Smokin', as well as most of the fiberglass you see, if not all of it, on the Vodders Motorsports machines. Right now, though, trying to wheel his way around here in an ailing Iron Warrior. Again, had some problems in racing earlier this afternoon. They shut the truck down in the air, and he took a hard hit on the nose that broke the left front axle. Just avoided contact with the wall that is to his right, to the left of your screen. Just bumping up against the barricades there when the axle broke and dragged the truck over toward the wall. He's trying to hang in there, though, as he picks up the pace right now. Not doing too bad considering, but doesn't want to tear the truck up too much more, as he's kind of filling in right now, oddly, in a name that he really helped develop in the early 2000s. And that name ran on the with Trey at the wheel, the Black Stallion 2000 chassis that Mike Vodders debuted in 1996 on the Thunder National Series. So a lot of history on this team, kept alive by a good group of guys out of the old line state. This machine Now probably more popularly known to be driven by Matt Cody, who's taking some time off from being behind the wheel. Trey, not getting what he wanted, I know that, but he wraps up a solid run. Again, takes a lot to wheel these machines around in these little arenas like this, and certainly with the left front not pulling, he didn't want to get too out of sorts with limited stopping power. A score of 18 to open up our freestyle competition. And the Iron Warrior Ford up next. Another Voders Motorsports machine. The Higher Education Cool Bus, the newly refurbished Higher Education Cool Bus. Changed a little bit of the suspension geometry on it, not by much, but it's got some new shocks. This thing used to have one shock per corner and one air spring per corner. Now running those Night Stalker shocks that used to be underneath of the Overkill Evolution machine. Minus the coils that used to be over them. They rebuilt them. Mike and RJ Turner rebuilt them to go underneath the bus, and it's looking good right now. Richie Yatsko, my neighbor out of Front Royal, Virginia, wheels this big bad machine around the floor here. Nice hit for the school bus. Flying over the pod. Vodder's told his guys, try to clear that thing. He wants one of his trucks to fly over that pod before the night's over, and there's not a lot of room to take a run at it, but Richie looking good right now. 525 cubic inches of Ford Performance horsepower inside that cocoon of school bus fiberglass that Trey Myers recently put together. They actually lowered the body, they shortened the body, so this machine could do stoppies if they wanted. Not on this night, though. Still trying to get the hang of the way this thing feels. A score of 21, though, will get him to the top spot. A lot of hang time on that run as Rick Disharoon gets ready to come out and smoke in this beautiful, hand-painted 69 GMC body. Trey Myers responsible for both the fiberglass and the artwork on this one. 557 cubic inches of metal shop horsepower going to work. One of the newest of the Signature Series trucks. Has a nice run going. He and Ryan have been sharing notes back and forth throughout our previous two shows, and Ryan was kind of telling him how he needs to drive these freestyles to get a good flow. I think Rick definitely listened to him as he takes a wild ride down right there. Into the wall just a little bit. Rick looking the best he's looked all weekend long in this big, bad GMC body metal shop chassis machine. Getting into that K-rail right there. Again, you got to watch it. He can cut a tire very easily. If you hit that wrong, it's like he's going to throw it into a set of sand slinging donuts. Roosting the bystanders, the announcer, and the sound man standing down there on the lower part of that tunnel behind the wall. They were ducking behind doors and everything as those big clods of sand went flying into that tunnel. Smoking, looking good out here. I'd have to think he just took over the lead. That was a great run by Rick Disharoon out of Del Mar, Maryland, another legend in monster truck competition. Ran Pro MT Series back in the day under the Backdraft moniker. Now the score of 22, taking over the top spot here close to home in Salisbury, Maryland. Up next, the legend, Mike Voders Sr. out of Hagerstown, Maryland. The safety clean Black Stallion Ford, 572 cubic inches of Roush Yates horsepower in the back. Keep in mind, Voders is the one that told his guys to clear this pod. Mike wasn't saying it just so they would do it. He wouldn't get his shot at it. He's definitely going to try right now, just feeling the truck out, I think, seeing how it's landing before he puts the foot to it. Maybe not. He appears to be having some kind of a problem. I don't know if he was just tightening the belts or not, maybe setting up for a big move here. He's not getting on the throttle too hard, and that's kind of hurting him on these landings. It's just sort of falling off the pod. I'm not sure what's going wrong with this truck right now, though, as he just sits over there in the corner. Mike Voders, hopefully he's okay. I mentioned before, he's just recovering from surgery. I don't think that's the problem, though, as he turns the truck around, maybe coming back, or nice hit right there. But again, getting off the throttle. And he's going to take it right off the track. A problem for Mike Voders' Safety Clean Black Stallion. Oil pressure is the apparent issue. He was not getting any oil pressure. Goes ahead and takes it and parks it. Doesn't want to damage that big Ford motor. Score is 16. Not at all what Voders was looking for. He went for it, but unfortunately, he's going to come up short tonight. But at least it was not an injury. That was our worry. Motor a little worse for wear, but still 3 trucks to go when we come back here to Salisbury. Back with you one more time here in the Wacomico Civic Center in Salisbury, Maryland. A field full of old liners. Here's another one of the big Fords out of state of Maryland, the Toxic 2.0 machine, the original Metal Shop Signature Series chassis. 557 cubic inch engine in the back of this one. Corey Snyder out of Frederick, Maryland, driving the big Ford out of Bethesda. Nice hang time right there, carrying the front end. It's interesting to listen to this truck. You have 3 machines basically out of the metal shop with the same basic engine setup, but a different header setup, and it completely changes the sound as they echo their way around the Wacomico Civic Center. Snyder carrying a lot of momentum in Toxic 2.0. Ran for Mike Voders on the Triple Threat Series under the Monster Mutt name, drove that bus chassis for a while, and definitely got his feel for running in these little arenas now. Flying around here in Toxic. Jay working in the event lighting industry. This thing always has the coolest looking LED setup underneath of it. And definitely a great driver behind the wheel. He had a little problem right there. I don't know if the rear steering wasn't moving for him or not. He started to head toward the wall very wisely. Backed up and felt it out, and then gets back underway. Thought he might end the run there, but that's not how he wanted to drive off the track. Carrying a wheelie over the racing lane, and the lights go red. Toxic 2.0 wrapping up a run, little steam out of the engine that you don't have to worry about. He's going to let it sit there and cool down. It's plenty cool outside, but carried some nice wheel stands, flying the sky wheelies over the pod. Toxic 2.0 with a 23 will take over the lead by 1 point. Corey Snyder looking good. Up next, R.J. Turner. This guy wanted to redeem himself after this afternoon. He put this truck on its side, maybe 2 or 3 moves into his freestyle. Looking to show these guys he's got what it takes, but Mike got after him earlier today. Said, stop tickling that throttle and clear that pad first, though, R.J. Putting it on the nose. He was tired of everybody asking when Mikey was going to get back behind the wheel. He wanted to show he could do those 2-wheel moves too, and he's looking good right now at the wheel of this Roush Yates 4-powered machine. Flying over. That right there is where he turned it over earlier this afternoon. He had to be seeing visions of that on that landing. Let's see what RJ has here at Overkill. Evolution, he's in trouble again on his top. The V2 Vince Ford laying on its side for the second time this weekend. That one went over even faster. I don't think the flip itself was faster, but he was definitely carrying more speed that time. Luckily, it was nowhere near the wall. Although he didn't hit it this afternoon, he definitely got close to it. What a ride by R.J. Turner. Short and sweet. He definitely turned the crowd on here. We'll have to wait and see what the score is, but look at this. Trying to clear the pod. I guess he technically did, even though he carried the rear wheels down that ramp. But watch right here. This is the same thing, basically, that happened to him earlier this afternoon, though he's on the brakes, I do believe. With that open front end, he was having a little trouble powering out. 26. With 26 to take the #1 spot, R.J. Turner. Normally the War Wizard driver tearing up Overkill Evolution. And Mikey might have a little work to do when he gets back behind the wheel. I know he's been watching this event online from up there. We've been getting updates that he has definitely seen RJ put this thing on its top. Well, now Marty's got another video to show him. Look at that, he actually tore the body up this time. Didn't do too much damage this afternoon, but as I said, he went over with a lot more momentum that time. Slid on the cab corner a little bit as our final freestyler gets ready to come up. Blasting right out of his spot. Ryan Disharoon close to home here in Salisbury. On the Maryland side of the Del Mar border, and I can tell already by the way he's driving, he is going to put on a clinic. R.J. Turner has a big gun coming after him right now. On the brakes, he's trying to do something he did on Friday as he gets into the wall a little bit right there. He cased the landing on the pod, and he was able to get some pretty quick forward momentum stopping. I think he's trying to do that again, but he cannot get the front wheels off the other side. Hitting the brakes like that, though, that could put a hurting on your housings, the lockers, the third members. Look at that right there. He may have just done some damage on that landing. I think he may have a locker going away as he works his way around the floor here beautifully. Look at that, left rear is not pulling. Broken left rear axle, and he is not stopping. Gonna wrap it up right there. What a run for the Saigon Shaker. There was no reason to preserve any of the jumps out here, so he just mauled them all. Ryan Disharoon looking good, and the big bad Jeep Kaiser out of Del Mar, Delaware, coming out to the cheers of the crowd. The question is, What is the score? That was an absolutely incredible freestyle. Again, getting on the brakes right there. I thought the front end was going to go away. I think he may have done some damage in that front housing, but really, right here, I believe he broke the left rear axle. It finally let go when he got back around to this side of the building. You see, it's not pulling right there. It's actually rolling on the left rear. A 25. Not going to do it. I don't know how well that's going to go over with this hometown crowd right here. He doesn't look too upset, though. He knows he put on a show, but Mike Fodders doesn't even agree with that. He's headed over to the table. I think he's headed over there to have a word with the judges.
Hey, this is Michael Fodders. I heard of Overkill Evolution and Mike Stein, and I don't want to say, I don't know where the scoring came from, but Ryan Disherin deserves that win, and I'm declaring that he won that freestyle. Thank you, and we'll be out front on all the autographs we got. Thank you.
A legend and a sportsman, Mike Fodders, the owner of the truck that won Overkill Evolution, just walked over there and handed the win to Ryan Disherin, Saigon Shaker, your freestyle champion here in Salisbury. What a weekend it's been. 3 huge shows. We're not even close to done for the year. Plenty more coverage coming at you from here on BCP in 2022. We will see you next time.